There we go.
Ah, workshop 268.
Wow.
I was trying to figure that out. 268. There you go. Now we know we're live on Facebook. No mistakes like last time. This is great. It's Thursday night. My name's Keller Reeves, and this is the workshop, everybody. Yeah. So, hey, so we have some great comedians. I've seen one, been with one, not that way, but we've been together, like not that way either.
Keep getting weirder, man.
And words.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, the workshop is what it is we're comedians. We get a random topic, and then we try to perform 3 to 5 minutes on that random topic. And then later on, when we're done, we give input to each other as we go. And then after that, we do our own material. We have a lot of fun with this thing. It's a great little, I guess, game feature. I don't know what you call it, but it's been awesome every single time. So, hey, let's put your hands together, please, for Julie Arley, everybody. Oh, I gotta go back to the screen. There we go. There we go. Sorry about that. I should have done it that way. We also have Bruce Lipsky. He's from New York, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you, guys. Oh, it's a little bit hectic. I just picked this up at the last minute, so let's go. Topic. I'm going to go first. Okay, I like to do this. Let me get the screen here for me. I'm going to stick my face up front this way. Okay. Listen. Timer. Got to do a timer now. Okay, listen. I don't have a topic. I came in late, but an hour before, so I'm just going to tell a story that I want to tell that I've been kind of working on for a while. So basically, this is a story of my youth, okay? And this is a story about a guy named Marshall Farmer, okay? Now, he plays rugby with me, and what Marshall Farmer did one is he shaved half of my eyebrow off, okay? I don't know if it happened to anybody. It's a kind of a guy thing. I don't know why it happens, but he shaved like half of my eyebrow off, and which wasn't so bad because nobody really noticed. But the problem is that I had an interview a couple days later, and I was really mad about it because now I had to like self-consciously worry about this eyebrow. And so that was a Friday night. Happened Saturday. I was pissed off. We went and played rugby. We had a great time. I had to go back to the hotel at some point before as the night's going on. Okay, I went back there, and I dislike Marshall Farmer a lot. Okay, I really dislike this guy in every manner of the way. He irritates me. He looks like that guy from that Family Guy, that giggity guy. You know what I'm talking about? That square jawed guy, Quagmire or something like that. That's what he looks like. He drives me mental. Anyways, I was out for revenge that night. Okay, that's the problem. I was out for revenge, and what I did is I went back to the hotel room and I just saw his shoe sitting there. So I picked up his shoe, bathroom, defecated in his shoe. That's what I did. I know it's kind of gross to say. And it was gross. What I did is I felt bad, so I washed it. I took it to the bathtub. I entirely washed it out. Said, that's too far, Keller. Don't do it. Just wash it off. Nobody will know. No big deal. My buddy's actually watching, other guy's watching the whole thing. That's another story why. But he's laughing. I'm laughing. I wash it out. Throw it in his gear. Say, okay, forget it. I get hammered. We forget entirely everything about this thing that happened. The next day, we all wake up in the hotel room, and everybody's kind of grabbing their stuff. We got to go back. It's a long drive. And he grabs his shoe, and he goes, hey, why is my shoe wet? And I forgot all about it. So I started laughing my head off. That's what I did. I laughed my head off. My buddy's laughing. It's the funniest thing in the world to us. And, you know what? Basically, I felt bad about it, but, you know, he brings it up every single time. And, you know, the thing is that, like, okay, I pooped his boot, okay? I ass-trashed his Adidas. I BM'd his Birkenstock. Okay, I crapped his kicks. That's what I did. I called one of his Cowboys. I clogged up in his clogs. I Christmas chimneyed his Chucks. Okay, I duked Dayton's. I dookied his Docs. I Denny'd his tennies. Okay, I upper decked his deck shoes. Okay, now I know that's a bit of a long thing, and you know I know it kind of alphabetical order. That's what it is so far. You can tell, but basically I want you to think about this. Okay. Think about going to bed, and you know you're in your safe place because when you go to your bed, even hotel, so hammered you are, there's a rule. There's a rule that if you can get to your own bed, you're sober enough to go to bed. You can't be touched. And imagine waking up and finding touched, and like I was like upset. So I gummed up his gum boots. I fertilized his size 9s. I floated one into his flippers. I flopped his flip flops. I Hershey squared his high tops. I loafed his loafers. I mucked up his mucklucks. I muddied up his moccasins. I prairie dogged his. I caged one of his platforms. I dumped his pumps. I ruined his retros. I had the runs in his runners. I shit kicked his shit kickers. I snuck one to his sneakers. I slipped one into his slippers. I had the trots in his trainers. I volcanoed his vans. More of the story: don't fuck with me. I take things too far. That's all I have.
Uh-huh. The moral of the story is if the shoe fits, don't wear it.
Yeah, yeah.
And you pooped in his Pumas.
Yeah, I pooped in his Pumas. Yeah, I prairie dogged his Pumas. That's
Okay, gotcha. Oh.
That grew on me because at first I'm like, okay, this is a poop joke. I'm like, wow, this is a really long poop joke. And then the longer it went, I couldn't not laugh at it. You convinced me.
You know what? That went too long. You're right. I was kind of last minute grabbing something. What have I done in a long time? Let's look at this. And I went that route.
No, I think, you really just, you hammered the premise home. It worked for me. Halfway through, I was not convinced, and then you convinced me with the ridiculous number of puns. So, were they alphabetical?
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't catch on to that until Vans.
Yeah.
That was the last one.
Yeah, you'd mentioned halfway through this is alphabetical. Yeah, that was great. It took a lot just to figure out how many different types of shoes there are out there. I stopped at sneakers and flip flops. I don't know.
Yeah.
Great, yeah.
So I do have a little feedback if you want it.
Sure.
Just towards the beginning, I got a little bit lost because you were saying, so you were in a hotel and I couldn't figure out why. So were you traveling for rugby?
Yeah, we travel. I should have said that.
Okay. It might just be my ADD brain, but I was like, okay, you're in an interview or you have to do an interview and then you're in a hotel. So then I thought you were traveling for the interview, but then the rugby guy was there. So I would maybe just organize like the first few sentences a little bit better so that people aren't trying to figure it out as they're like missing your joke. That was the only feedback I had really, was to just organize the beginning a little bit better.
Yeah, you know what? I actually started to tell that story and then forgot a part and then had to try to rein it
back.
Yeah. That's where
I've never done that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. Again, it came down to the same thing. I agree with Julia because, I was waiting to find out what the job interview was all about. And I was expecting you to go to the job interview with half an eyebrow.
Mm-hmm.
I know you did, but we didn't find out about that. Next thing I knew, you were in the rugby.
Yeah, and I skipped the part that actually to get to that point. I fucked up the start for sure. Yeah, it's I'd never told really the story beforehand. I just told
that's close enough. That's all right. What was the job? Just curious, what kind of job interview was it
for the job I have now? Actually, it was
okay.
16 years ago now.
Okay. I say, hey, maybe that's the reason you got the job.
Yeah, my person.
You were unique. Looking for somebody unique and special on this job. And all you can do is look at your left eye and half an eyebrow. This guy's got something about him,
I have dark eyebrows too. So the thing is that when you lose half of them, it's like
noticeable.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I was mad. But yeah.
Did you have a beard back then too?
Pardon me?
Did you have the beard back then too?
No, I didn't actually. I was barefaced.
So I made it even stand out even more. Yeah,
man. Yeah.
So your eyebrow got shaved on this rugby trip, right?
Yeah. So basically, I to tell like just in point form because I fucked it up is that we went away for a rugby trip. I didn't really say that at the start. Then we we went and drank. We got hammered drinking, and I went to bed, got my eyebrow shaved off, and then this Marshall guy was the one that did it for fun. That's how the story should have really went, and I missed that. I missed the part about something. I tried to tail back, then I missed the rugby until later.
That would totally work then. Yeah, if you said that part first, I think we would have totally followed. And then your point about if you're sober enough to go to bed, then you should be safe. That makes sense now because you were in bed, got your eyebrow shaved, and you're like, hey, this guy's playing fair. Okay.
Right. Yeah, and I forgot to mention that point too. Again, I really didn't put a lot of thought into it before I started. I never told it that way before, so I definitely have some changes to do that would make better story, and I'll definitely work on that. So, but yeah,
that's kind of what we're doing here, right? It's just throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
Exactly. Well, don't say throw in the wall and stuff that sticks because he may. We know what stuck with him.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He got yeah.
Wow.
It's hard to
Honestly,
make.
I would keep all of that, because as much as I was like, another poop joke, when you just kept going, it got funnier because you wouldn't. Uh, I don't want to say that because that's a poop joke, but
Yeah.
I would not shorten it, because that's kind of what became funny for me, was the ridiculous number of examples. That was the joke then for me. So I don't think you need to shorten it.
Yeah, I actually worked a lot on those ones, like a lot of time, because I was trying to make them all flow almost like a poetry thing. And I've got like about 12 or 13 memorized, but there's like 28 or 30 of them in there. I think I scaled them in tens, and it's really hard to remember
The
how it is.
rhythm was good. It did kind of sound like a poem.
Yeah,
Right.
like it meant to sound like more of a flow sort of thing. But yeah, it definitely kind of sounds poem-esque. Yeah, it's just one of those things I'm gonna have to keep working on. It's not something I can just remember and do, right? That's a hard one to do. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
perfect for it. So
Just put them on flashcards, like the first half on one side and then the
yeah,
two on the other side.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's a fun story. I mean, I'll figure it out one of these days. It'll probably take 5 years, but we'll see.
Yeah, the neat thing is that, because it's real, it happened to you, the emotion could be, obviously we can feel that emotion because
Yeah.
as opposed to just making up some stupid poop thing,
Right.
this existed, it happened, and you got your revenge, but then you realize revenge isn't so sweet.
That's basically
What was worse, you having to clean the crap out of the shoe?
yeah. The funny thing is, he never threw those shoes out. He wore them for 4 more years. So it's not like that ruined his life or anything. I just washed it out. He took it home, washed them, and then he just kept wearing them.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe you could do some sort of sidebar saying, some people, like an animal, so they make their marks on certain people's articles of clothing. You ingrained your mark on his size 12s, whatever he has,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Forever.
The worst part about the whole thing is that every time he gets drunk around me, he brings it up. Every single time. You shit in my shoes.
You took half my eyebrow.
How did you find out if you washed them?
Oh, I just started laughing, and the other guy that was in the room, he blurred out, "That's because killer shit in your shoes." And then he was like mad too, right? So it's like, then I have to deal with this thing, and the whole drive pissed off.
I'm just trying to look at the visual of you crapping in his shoes, man. That's not a pretty picture.
No, no, and it was like a couple of days of drinking in a row too. So, not to make it sound worse, I'm sorry for that, but
That's okay. That's just.
Why did you wash it out? Why did you commit?
I just felt bad. I didn't want to leave it that way. And you know what the truth is? I thought if I left this on the ground, he might throw it at me. Right? So that's what really was.
There's the real reason.
Yeah, I didn't feel that bad. That's true.
Or he may fill in your eyebrow with it.
Yeah, exactly. But I felt better. I can go back and be calm because I got him back. So if anybody asked, it was like no big deal. So yeah.
And how many guys were in the same room?
We got there was 3 beds in a kind of a bigger room, and it was like 6 guys. There was 6 of us.
Fun.
And then the next night there was like 8 of us because 2 more guys crammed in. So it was little dinky cow.
Right.
Anyways, yeah, I can figure that one out a little more one of these days.
Was this like high school, college?
No, it was grown. I was 30 years old, man. Like it's like grown ass men. So you're gonna fucking start shaving eyebrows off? Like I thought that was bullshit. And then
exactly, yeah.
And now,
do you play like for like a club team or something?
Yeah, I played for a club team. Yeah. So yeah, just so yeah, guys like they turn into like juveniles again. Like most of us never went. We don't have college the same way down the States. We don't have fraternities, so it's like that stuff is just what we see on TV and that's it, right? So for us, it's become rugby or sports you become fraternities with in a way. So
right.
Good, but you just take it way too long, like Bert Kreischer style, where you're going to school 8 years, 9 years. It's
right. Gotcha.
It's not
that. I was there most of the 90s.
Yeah, were you? Oh, good for you.
Yeah. I mean, I can handle 3-hour rugby training sessions, beating the crap out of each other. But one thing I won't tolerate: somebody saving my eyebrows.
Yeah.
And in rugby, it's a violent sport. When I say violent, not violent in the sense it's malicious or anything, but you guys are, it's impact sport, so
High
that's
contact. Yeah.
impact, yeah. And so, the last thing I want is a different type. I don't want eye contact.
Yeah, it is a rougher sport, and it's like you don't really get tame guys. But the problem is when you start like wrestling, it's always something gets broken because you're just like throwing each other around. It's more physical stuff like this, so it becomes like altercations don't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's great. Yeah, I'm sure. It's a lot of fun. And it's just a question of getting guys together and having a good time. And
yeah.
hey, why not?
Yeah.
Might as well. It's better than a bar fight, right?
Yeah. I think we've gone far enough, so let's move on. We got 5 people watching. Hey, you guys comment. I'll pull it up on the screen. You can say whatever you want to me. I'll try my best to ignore any kind of hate. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Wait, our next comedian on us and out there, I want you guys all put your hands together. A round of applause, please, for Julia Irely, everybody.
Okay, so my topic was teachers. And like I said, so I was homeschooled for 11 years. So I actually had to ask like my friends, like, so what is school like? Because so I'm a kindergarten dropout. So my teacher was literally my mom for like 9 years, and then I went to private school. And she managed to. My mom was great, so she's really smart. She's an electrical engineer by education. Never planned on staying home with us. And then we were living in Texas in the late 80s. The schools were crap, and I already knew how to read and went to kindergarten, and all of a sudden was just completely miserable. So my parents pulled me out, and my mom ends up homeschooling me just by accident. So I had pretty much one teacher for like most of a decade. So you can't like blame, oh, I had too much homework in this other class. Mom's like, really? Did the cat give it to you? Like, because it wasn't me. But I literally, like, I never even went to public school. So the last 2 years I was in a private school. My graduating class was 17 kids, which is pretty small, I think, right? Unless you live in a really small town. So I actually had to like text my friends and be like, when does it switch over to where you're, walking to different classes? How bad is bullying really? And people always say they want to hear more about like me being homeschooled, but it's like, I don't even know how, like, because I don't know what I'm comparing it to, right? So like, what's the joke? So I kind of wanted to crowdsource a little bit too, and just ask you guys, like, so let's start. Okay, how many people were in your graduating classes? Do you know? My husband didn't know. He had no idea.
Yeah, I had 1,400, I think, in my graduating class. 1,400.
I had about 1,200, I think. Yeah, in high school.
Okay.
Talking about. Yeah.
So at that point, like, you don't even know everybody's name, right? Like, you might not even recognize somebody you went to high school.
Absolutely not. Yeah. Well, you had your clique of friends. You had your clique of friend one, right?
Me.
Your mirror friend. You had your mirror friend.
Right? Imaginary friends. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, like, because I interacted with public school kids, and it's funny, like, so many people always said that I wasn't going to have any social skills, which I'm awkward, but I would have been awkward anyway. Like, it's just me. But we hung out with other homeschoolers, and they were always really smart, really kind, like, to me, pretty good. Awkward, but like nice people, like they would RSVP to stuff and they would show up and they wouldn't leave people out. And so my thing was always like, why would I want to go learn how to be a bitch like that? Because what I was seeing in public school is like, you got to learn how, basically you're just learning how to be a terrible person. Like, I don't really want to be good at that. That was kind of what I saw from the outside. So I'm kind of, like, is bullying like as bad as it looks like on TV? I guess that's my question.
It's a different skill set.
Yeah.
I learned a totally different skill set at home as compared if I went to high school. Yeah. How about normalcy, niceness, kindness?
We had bullies in my house. I wanted 10 kids. We had lots of bullies. We'd bully each other.
What wasn't the problem for you? It was at home. Yeah. See, I don't know how long we've been talking. I don't want to take over here. Are we just a few minutes, right? We haven't been going that long.
Got to hit start, so I'm sorry about that. But
that's okay.
Go for it. We're here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just three of us, I guess. So are you guys still friends with people you knew in like high school?
Yeah.
That's nice. Okay.
Elementary.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah, I have there's four, but now because of the pandemic, is that we can't really. But there's four of us. We know each other for 50 years now, and we get together once a month for dinner.
so
And
you still live in Long Island and you grew up there?
yeah, I grew up in New York City. I live in Long Island, but my friends are scattered. Maybe some are 40 miles away and things like that. So we meet in a central place. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But
Yeah,
I have
you
the
have.
same from
I'm
grade three.
sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. I have the same friends from grade three, actually, all the way back. So
yeah,
that's nice.
yeah. Same here. Same here. Yeah.
Yeah, I've still got a couple friends from second grade that I actually met. It was through a homeschool program, and we would basically go like every Wednesday and do all the stuff we didn't do at home. So at home, it was all like the real academic stuff. And then on Wednesdays, we'd go and we'd do like music, recess, art class, like all that stuff with a bunch of other 7 and 8 year olds. And I still know a couple girls from that age group. But we moved a lot. So it's like not only, was it hard to make friends because I was home all the time, but then every few years we would move. So it's like you got to start over and you don't have, every day to make friends. But I always had like a few close friends. Um, so okay, so I had two brothers and we did, arm wrestling and we used to play this we used to play this game called The Pit. This is not about teachers, but I think it's funny. Where between the sofa and the ottoman, like the footrest, the whole game was to try to shove the other siblings down into the middle. So I mean, I guess that could be bullying. Um,
Or gymnastics, whatever.
uh-huh. Yeah, we did a lot of private lessons and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, other than the fact that you have to go somewhere every day, like I'm not sure that it's that different. We got dressed every morning and we did school and all that. But my husband said his biggest stress in like high school, he has ADHD and so do I. But I didn't get diagnosed till I was an adult, although neither did he. So I don't know how they missed it with him in public school. But he said his biggest stress was not knowing, what's my next class and where is it? Because he had 4 hallways that all look the same. And, all my classes are just, it's at the kitchen table. Like you can't get lost. You can't, you know, and my mom was like, she didn't do my work for me. She never did my homework for me, but she was sort of like my, personal assistant isn't the right word. Sort of like my so with ADHD, like you don't have executive functioning skills, like the part that like organizes what to do when and what's important and then filters it to the part we actually think about it. That piece is missing. So like if I'm not on my meds, everything is like the same volume, everything seems the same importance, and I can't make a decision. Like trying to choose a purse online, it's like 6 hours because I can't decide like is it the color? Is it the size? Like, where do I start? And then I take my meds and I'm like, oh my God, like, this is so easy. And so my mom was always, every 5 minutes, like, okay, do this next, do this next, do this next. So then I get to, college and all of a sudden my work's not getting done. And it's not like my mom was doing it before, but she was like every 5 minutes, like, do this next and come find me done. And so she was my executive function for me. And so all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, like I have to, she was teacher, she was, special ed teacher without even knowing it. She planned all the curriculum, like she did everything. I mean, luckily I liked her. I had, one teacher that I liked, I guess.
And she was lunch lady too.
Yep, she was. Lunch lady, everything. So yeah, I guess I had different teachers in college, but I might take this in a direction talking a bit more about, because I always, after a workshop, I use the prompt and then come up with whatever I come up with. So I might just try to use some of this feedback and write a little bit more stuff on, being homeschooled. I mean, I guess I could talk about like the bullying with, my brothers, like our wrestling matches. And what do you guys think about that? You can't blame another teacher for giving you too much homework because it's the same teacher. Like, is that anything?
yeah, I like that. Yeah.
What I'm finding, it's very engaging the fact that yes, you were homeschooled, but I also really found on a separate note to add to this whole piece, you started talking very naturally about the fact that you had ADD and what that meant as far as the function of the brain and things like that, and how you know how your mother grounded you in certain ways, but when you got to college, it was whatever it was. I was locked into that story. I locked into both stories, but that really drew me in. Right? That was something that, again, I'm doing comedy about 2.5 years, give or take a little bit. But, I'm always, when you have something that's coming naturally out of you, without having to necessarily think, you know, this release particular thing was really engaging,
Hmm.
and potentially to be funny, not funny the fact that you had making fun of ADD, or the way you describe the brain and everything else like that. I mean, because I have a son. I have a son who kind of has some of that. And sometimes decision making is such a challenge. What do you want for dinner? I don't know. What's the choices? I still don't know. That type of thing. And I can see the struggle, but at the same point, how you've succumbed that struggle, and I think it could be, like I said, very, very, um, what's the word? Engaging and humorous and genuine. And what's comedy? Comedy is all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe kind of explaining. I mean, I might just try. I'll go back and watch this video and just kind of write down what I said, and then just maybe try it again. But talking about what it's like to have it, and then you said like the brain description of what kind of what's going on.
But also adding the fact that it's the homeschooling too. And then when you're off to college now, that's a totally different ball game. It's not homeschooling. It's away from homeschooling.
Mm-hmm.
And how did that get you? Suddenly you said you weren't doing your homework or whatever.
Yeah, bad. It's really bad. Keller, you're laughing. Do we have comments?
Yeah, I was howling because it's the whole thought I keep thinking about. It'd be a great sitcom for like a person that was homeschooled but is now a teacher and having to teach people in a teacher at school in that environment. I mean, I just thought it was pretty funny. Kind of, it was going through my head a bit, like how they deal with it, being confused themselves and learning the same way the students are when they're teaching and everything else. I just thought it was confusing to me, right? But yeah,
trying to teach a big group when you were never part of one.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
I mean, picturing you as a teacher trying to explain it that way, it's pretty funny.
I'm a pretty good teacher, but I've done mostly like I taught piano for 4 years, but that was like one-on-one. So,
but there's a whole bunch of things like you talk about homework and stuff like that. There's some kind of pun in there. Be better. I liked that joke you talked about your mom being a janitor and everything else and lunch lady. I think you really have to lean into that a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also
that right closer to the top. I think that sort of thing.
Say that again.
Well, I was saying that. Am I breaking up? Sorry. I was saying that I would take that part of the joke and move it up in my set more. I think because it's pretty funny talking that way. And you paint a good picture with it. I think when you were saying that, but it was late in the set to be on board and much with that. I think it's a better joke up higher. That what I would say.
Okay.
Start everyone.
Then I was just thinking one more thing is that Keller had something I was thinking about. You're thinking about you got math, you got science, you got whatever, you got English. But the thing that really got me is when we had to spend 3 hours a day because you said your mother was an electrical engineer. Shop was the thing that got me. The soldering or whatever electrical engineer does. You're soldering. And you're repairing the house basically. I said, "Ma, isn't this what you pay a guy for? What am I on a ladder for? Soldering the soffits in the house or fixing the windows. And honey, it's all part of your training. There's something like that. Your shop class with your mother, and she's an electrical engineer. You're rewiring the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's a good point. And my dad actually was too. That's how they met. They were lab partners, and it was my dad and 2 women, and the other one was married. So my dad ended up with my mom, and my dad actually put himself through college doing HVAC work, and we were always helping out with like family projects.
Yeah, because I remember when I was in whatever grade, the big experiment we had to take a cigar box and this Rayovac battery, which is like I don't know what I don't know how many big battery like this big, big battery, and we had to put it into a box. We had to make like an electronic lock, basically from this thing. And that was my science experiment. So everybody has like a little super science experiment wherever grade school. Your science experiment was rewiring the house, or your science experiment was, putting an HVAC system in the grandma's house, or whatever it may be. Something that's so bizarre,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thanks for bearing with me. I just kind of needed to talk through it. I appreciate you guys' help.
Yeah, there's one thing I wrote down too. There's one thing you said about being dealing with a bitch in there or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but I think the term would be basic bitch or something like that, or somebody kind of squeeze that in sort of way. Like you don't understand, like, I don't know. There's some weird thing. It'd be interesting sort of thing to not have to go with that stuff. Yeah. So I was just dealing with trying to get online with us here. That's what keeps popping. But hey, let's give another round of applause for Julia. Everybody.
Well done. Yes.
Yeah, so this has been fun. We've had some good long stories, Bruce. Are you ready for that?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, hold on. Let me try and make this screen work. Okay, Bruce? I got to figure this out. Oh, that is a better screen, but I can't figure this out. Here we go. Now, how do I make you... Oh, you know what? You're going to have to go solo. How do you go like that?
A Lobo solo, as they say, right?
Yeah, would you like to see us, or would you rather stay this way?
I'd love to see you. I'd like to see you. That's perfect. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thank you. My topic, thank you. My topic is normal. Okay.
Yeah.
If there's such a thing as normal. Now, Julie was talking about her being homeschooled, and Keller was talking about, his rugby days and all his friends. Let me give you a story. I went to public high school in New York City back in the early 1970s. So you can figure out how old I am. And part of our requirements in the school, we had to take gym. But we don't have to just take gym. We had to take swimming. But our swim class, we had to swim naked. Let me repeat that. We had to swim naked. Okay. So first question, is this normal? All right. So the first day I got to class, I said, teacher, where's my Speedo? He said, Speedo, how about Speed No? For those of you who don't know, Speedo is the name of a brand of a bathing suit. So he said, son, just to let you know, your birthday suit is your bathing suit. Thankfully, woodshop wasn't run that way. But think about it. Being 14 years old, among all your peers in class, having to do forced skinny dipping. All right? And I thought about this and said, now I know where they got the idea for the show Naked and Afraid. Because believe me, I was naked and very afraid. But think about this. Nowadays, if the teacher said, son, we're doing nude swimming now, no suit would probably equal lawsuit. So it comes down to, what is normal these days? You should never get away with that. Normal, okay. I don't know if any of you guys have kids.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't have kids, you probably heard of kids or seen a kid, one way or another. Okay. What's normal when you have young kids? All right. I remember one time my son, when maybe he was 5 years old, he decided to find out how long it would take for a slice of pepperoni pizza to disintegrate in his sock drawer. All right. So he buried a piece of pizza in his sock drawer, and there was a bad smell in his room. So I went into the room and said, gosh, what's this smell over here? And I traced it to the sock drawer. Then I realized that pepperoni pizza actually smells better than his socks. So, yeah. And then fast forward that, when he was a teenager, what is normal? Okay. Is normal when I go to his room and I look in front of his hamper and I see all his dirty clothes, not in the hamper, but in front of the hamper, the basket. I look at his garbage can, his basket, and what's happening? All his garbage is not in the can, it's in front of the can. Is this normal? This kid was a Division I basketball player, the leading scorer on his team. Gosh, it's a layup and a dunk at this point. So I was thinking maybe I should raise his basket to 10 feet high. Get an electronic scoreboard, maybe it'll improve his performance. What is normal? My wife just spent $4,000 on an avocado mattress. $4,000. She says she's going green. I said, she's not. That's going green. My green is going right out the door. And they said it's organic. We have an organic mattress. I don't want organic in the bedroom. I want orgasmic. And and it was getting to the point it was getting rotten. The mattress, not my wife. But it was this mattress was lumpy. I felt like I was sleeping on a bed of guacamole with the pits in it. I said, I feel like a fajita. What's next? Sour cream pillows? And she also got one of these adjustable beds, Craftmatics. You haven't seen these before? You take the remote control, you can move the head and feet. Don't have an argument with your wife before bed when you have one of these things. We had an argument. She took the remote control and put the bed in the shape of a V. I said, honey, I can't get in tonight. She said, that's not the only V you're not getting into tonight. And I mentioned before that I just turned 65. And, what's normal when you're 65? I mean, I looked in the mirror. I look like a rusted old Buick. Nothing can be buffed out. My hoses are leaking. My rear end is making funny sounds. And my ball joints are bulged right up. In my house, it used to be if I had a leak, I'd call my plumber. Now I call my urologist, and he's $50 cheaper. And a couple other things that I know we're running out of time. Back in the 70s, in the disco days, there was a famous place in New York City called Studio 54. We would go out there, get on the dance floor, and bust a move. I'm afraid to take my wife dancing now. And is it normal to forget things? Yeah, when you get older. I swear my foam mattress has a better memory than I do. And when you get older, you got to stay in shape. It's normal to, you put on a little bit of weight. I was at my doctor's office, and he said, you have a little paunch out. You got to start losing some weight, get some exercise. I exercise, but I only exercise late at night, very late at night, between the hours of 3 and 5 in the morning. I run sprints from the bedroom to the bathroom. Good news, I got my time down under 6 seconds. Unfortunately, I can only hold my pee for 4.2. I'll leave it at that for now. That's my abnormal normalcy.
There you go, Bruce. Way to go. Cool. Julia, would you like to give some comments first?
Sure. Yeah, I loved it. There's a lot of good stuff, but the first thing that really got me was when you said she's going green, my green is going. I thought that was a fun play on words. I really like that. The remote control bed, don't have an argument when you have one of those. You painted a good picture with that. The rusted old Buick, talking about trying to buff things out. I liked that a lot. Your urologist being cheaper than your mechanic. That's really funny. You had a lot of good punchlines in there. That was really good. I mean, I don't know if I have any negative feedback. I actually really enjoyed it.
Okay. It's an interesting thing about that swimming story. It's an actually true story.
Really?
We had to swim naked. I had more. There's more to that joke that I can put in there, but for the sake of time, I didn't put it in there. But literally, that first day of class, and he said there's no bathing suits. My chin hit the ground. Let's face it. As I said before, 14, I barely had eyebrows. We're talking about eyebrows, Kelly.
Yeah.
My maturity level was a hell of a lot lower than a lot of the other kids. Talking about being scarred, you're better off being homeschooled. That case,
Yeah. Cool. What the hell was that? I never heard anybody.
This is public school. In fact, if you look it up, and even in Texas, they had swimming in high school way back when in the 70s and the 60s. They thought it was actually more hygienic. And the crazy thing, and this is God's honest truth, we would play water polo in class.
Wow.
Okay? Imagine naked water polo. And again, this is all true. The teacher would be yelling, hey, Lipsky, hey, Bruce, protect your nets. I'd be off in the corner of the pool saying, the hell with that. I'm trying to protect my nuts.
You should add that.
Yeah. And this is, and then literally you become a good one-handed swimmer after all this. Think about it.
Yeah.
That's funny too. I mean, maybe you had that in the longer version, but that's funny too. Being a good one-handed swimmer. That was where you had the no suit equals a lawsuit these days, right?
Yeah. No
so
suit
was it gender class too?
No, just males.
Okay.
Males. And we had the best swim team in the state. Yeah. Obviously, we didn't swim naked during competitions, but yeah. I guess I was training naked. I guess staying away from the creepy coach or something. One lap ahead, maybe.
So the idea was that it was more hygienic to not have swimsuits?
I was supposedly this, and then imagine going home. The first day going home, my mother saying, "Bruce, where's your bathing suit? I'll wash it for you." I said, "Well, I can handle that on my own. Thank you."
I just keep thinking, what kind of creep is the one that recommends? Well, it's way hygienic. You just try to
Exactly.
get naked. That's like this. It's way more hygienic. It's like,
And as I said, thankfully, woodshop wasn't run that way.
That was funny too.
Watch out for the lathe. Watch out for the lathe. Stay away from the buzzsaw.
well, the guy must have been so convincing to the school board. So it's like it's hygienic. You understand how more hygienic is. Women, no, they get to wear clothing, but the boys, it's way more hygienic.
It would have been creepier if it was a woman. It was a women's swim coach.
That's interesting. It wasn't just your school, though. I mean, you said it was lots of places did that.
There wasn't. Well, my high school had one of the premier pools. Yeah, but if people don't believe it, and I tell them to look it up on the internet. Yeah, and imagine that class photo. Yeah. All right, we're going to range in size places. I didn't know if it was size by height or something else.
I wrote down a couple of things on your thing there, but I towards the end when you're talking, like just when we're bantering back and forth, when you're talking about the teachers that they had to sit there and I started just imagine the teachers fighting over this position. Yeah, no, I want to teach swimming. No, I want to teach
exactly. And I also want to teach the Voyeurs Club too. He's president of the Voyeurs Club. Oh my!
Just to deal with a young naked man, I can't get it from my head.
But I was so embarrassed in this class. What I did, I actually brought a bathing suit in so I could shower with it.
Really? That's funny.
I just made that up, right?
Yeah, funny. You should keep that in there. Yeah, that's funny. It's just wow. It's like an amazing story to me that it's almost like unbelievable. It's like, what's he talking about? I've heard of this?
Yeah. It's so bizarre. And it's ironic, too, because I live in a very small town on Long Island.
Yeah.
It's like Mayberry RFD, if you ever know, like Andy Griffith type stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was walking my dog one day, and I met another guy walking the dog. And usually I have the usual banter about who you're from. And he said, "I'm from Bayside." I said, "I'm from Bayside." And he said, "Where'd you go to high school?" I said, "Bayside High School." He said, "Stop. I want you to meet my wife. She doesn't believe about have nude swimming." I had to go to his house and tell his wife, yes, I think actually had nude swimming in high school.
Yeah.
So some people didn't think it was normal. I assume his wife was similar to his age, right? And she thought it was weird.
Absolutely, my wife, everybody, my wife too. I said, "This is crazy." Anybody, this is not right.
Mm-hmm. Did women do it too in a separate?
No, they didn't swim. No, they didn't swim naked. They had a Speedo version of it. Because you go to high school gym. What's the first thing they do? They give you a gym uniform. What size are you? Okay, I want a large top, medium shorts. Okay, where's my Speedo? No Speedo. Speed no. Your bathing suit, your birthday suit, your bathing suit.
I just think of the guy that talked them all into this. This is the right way to do it. Like the guy's clearly a pedophile of some sort.
This is
seeing people into this is more hygienic for sure. I just see him in the corner, just like, ooh, my plan's coming together. It's ridiculous to me. It's so funny. But yeah. Your other thing too about the laundry bin stuff with your kid was pretty funny. I like that. I kept thinking about why it would be on the floor if they weren't like laying up and then blocking his own shots or something like that, or starting penalties or something like that.
Right.
Basketball, but
I need to paint lines on his floor. Do I need to get a cheerleading section? Electronic scoreboard,
The scoreboard was a funny visual because that's a lot of electronics for just a bedroom.
Right.
I like that a lot.
And did you like the 10-foot high basket or something?
Yeah, I got it because that's regulation height for a rim. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, that's funny though.
And then the pizza. This is all true. The pizza story is a true story. And the sock drawer. Yeah. Kids do weird stuff.
His pizza smelled better than his socks. His rotten pizza.
Yeah. But yeah.
That was his homeschooling science experiment. See, you could have
There you
done
go.
this while
He was
you were rewiring houses. My son was putting pepperoni pizza in his stock drawer. See the difference right there? Look how much more qualified you are.
It's true.
He works in Domino's. You're working.
I'm an accountant now.
There you go. See.
I actually wrote down one more joke I forgot to tell you. It's really dumb, though. I was almost embarrassed to say it, so I tried to skip over it. But basically, a birthday suit is technically a one-piece suit. That's what I had.
Exactly. A one piece. Exactly. Did he make it in the framework?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was naked and very afraid. Yeah. Little I was, I'm actually auditioning for the pilot of Naked and Afraid, or something like that. I forget what I said. And I was naked and very afraid.
I think you after the tad myself, by the way you did it. I felt you kind of telegraphed that joke a bit myself. You telegraphed the punchline, like I kind of, not that I saw it coming, I just wasn't surprised.
But
you know what I mean? It's like an okay joke. It just, I think that there's, for me personally, wasn't enough surprise in it to really keep that as a surprise joke, and that's kind of
right.
If that makes sense. But I like telling people how to do things or do what it is. So it's it worked. It made me smile. So
no, it's important to have an outside ear listening, because if you have a reaction to it in a certain way, that's your reaction. You could be one of 30 people having the same reaction to it.
Yeah, exactly.
If there's a better way of doing it.
Yeah.
I like the premise of it because it's a relevant TV show.
Yeah.
But back then it was 1972 or 71. So you're talking 40 years ago.
Yeah.
This is happening. So, do the math, right? 40 years ago.
You're about the same age as my dad, but he grew up in Wichita, Kansas, so different part of the country. But he was born in 55, so almost exactly the same age.
I'm 1956. Yeah, so yeah.
Still with a lot of the integration of the high schools. They did that when he was in high school, so they were throwing tear gas to clear out the halls because there were riots all the time.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys do that in New York? Okay, I had
not bombs so much. We had one time we had to clear out because of we had riots. We had they were throwing M80s out of the buses and stuff. It was stuff. Yeah. That's freaky stuff. You wouldn't think about this. Welcome to America, right?
Yeah.
That's 40 years ago. It was crazy, because of segregation or whatever, busing, and hey, people are people. Get over it, man. But
yeah.
Hey, but again, that's the part of the interesting thing. Going back to that swim class, who's in the swim class? Every done everything, and certainly a lot more mature people, physically than I was.
I'm later in life, so it kind of would be horrifying in my mind because I didn't
skinny kid,
Yeah, because not everybody goes through puberty at the same time. Everybody hits different times.
Absolutely. Believe me.
You may be the same age, but you're not the same kid, right? Like it's like
Absolutely, sure.
I got like much bigger size after I graduated high school, so it's a weird, right? Late blooming in a way, but yeah.
Right. Talk about naked bullying. That's another thing. Another thing to look at. People get bullied because of appearance or whatever. Imagine getting bullied because of appearance, literally appearance.
That sounds traumatizing, honestly. Like, I don't think I missed anything not going to public school. That sounds terrible.
Suddenly, that swimming pool in our backyard is looking pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Actually, that's funny. You could say that. You just made me think of that, Julie. Is that you could say in your thing is that the only lockers I know is when my parents won't let me back in the house. That's right.
That's right.
There you go.
My mom would make us go outside and play outside if we were too loud. She'd be like, "Go run around the house 3 times and come back."
Yeah.
Right. You see that kite outside? Go fly it.
See the high? Just take a stroll over there. That's
yeah. So Julia's going to go back to her mother and tell Ma, thank you so much. And she'll say, why? For homeschooling me. Because I just met this weird guy talking about New York City High School. You're never going to believe this. Look it up if you want to. Bayside High School, Queens, New York.
I believe you.
I'm definitely bringing that up, Bruce, in a tea party or some kind of party
Right.
event, sit with beers.
I'm glad you didn't say an AA meeting.
I'll be sitting down with my friends and just go, "Did you know they used to swim naked in high school?" I can't fathom it. To me, it's like it's so wide out there. It's like it's almost like too unbelievable. I believe you. I believe the story, but it's almost hard to comprehend in my mind.
Right.
It's like that's such a violation of.
Exactly.
I have to ask my dad about that. I don't know. I don't think he'd say that, but yeah, it's weird. So,
I'll friend you guys on Facebook if you want. I'll send it to you, messenger the link.
oh, about it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Be looking it up for sure. Okay, well let's move on a bit. Thank you, Bruce. Let's give him another round of applause for you.
Thank you.
Way to go. Okay, so this is the portion where we do our material, our one fan, our one devoted person that's watching. Thank you for sitting and having it in the background. We really do appreciate that. It's quite a great night. So, okay, so listen, I'm going to do some jokes here. A couple of my own things here. So, let me get started. So I know the time I'm going. Okay, so I've been thinking a lot about a club to join because I'm going to start a club, basically a book club. We get a bunch of in my area in town, Chilliwack, a bunch of the most learned people. I'm gonna bring them all together. We're gonna read books and we're gonna discuss books, and then when we disagree, we're gonna fight, and it's called Fight Book Club. That's what it's called. Okay, that's what we're doing. Just argue and fight over books. That's the most important thing. It's not about camaraderie of a book club. It's about fighting all the time about books. Just fight. And the first rule about Fight Book Club is we only read Jane Austen books. That's it, because you're guaranteed to have a fight over Jane Austen books. Whether you like them or don't like them, there's always two sides, and it's always a fight. Okay, it's a fight. Okay. Second rule of Fight Book Club is we're always going to read Jane Austen books. Okay, that's the overdone thing. Third rule, though, is that when we disagree, we fight. That's the rule. Fight Book Club. Okay, that's what I have on that. So here's some more things. Got to stretch that out a bit. One thing I realized with masks, I'm actually really enjoying them because this over thing with all these videos that we're doing, these Zoom stuff. I realized that I read lips, but when I read lips, I also move my lips when I read lips, so it looks like I'm making fun of people. So the masks have been really helpful in public because I never noticed it. Now I'm just focusing on it. Well, we'll figure that out one day. Okay, so I'm a better person, as you may already know. May not know, but I heard this guy say "yo" way too many times in a sentence, and I was like, "Fuck, man, that's easy. I could beat that." And I was like, "Okay," and I figured it out. I got the Guinness World Record of how many "yos" in one sentence. You guys ready? Here's 11 "yos" in one sentence. We're gonna take a deep breath. It's "yos," okay? Yo, Eureka, yo! You know who just found your yo-yo on the ground, yo? There's 11 "yos." Thank you very much, champ. That's it. Guinness Book World Records right there. Everybody else at home. Okay. I don't know if anybody, probably Bruce and Julie, maybe haven't seen this show. I think it might be a Swedish show. It's called Pingu. It's about this penguin that it's in claymation, and he gets in hijinks with the penguins, fights off seals because they're his animals, and he has a great time. And I think I've just as a grown adult watched way too much Pingu because I actually go through my head when I dislike something, like my boss maybe asked me something, and it honestly goes through my head to answer like, which is how Pingu talks. So that's why, yeah, I guess you have to be there with Pingu. Maybe I'll have to leave that. It might be just a Canadian comment that I'll have to keep with. Okay. There's one more joke I want to tell, and I've lost it. So that was a bit pathetic on my part, but hey, we'll stop it there because we are going pretty good time. Thank you very much. I'm done.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking, I was laughing with the book fight club.
Yeah.
How about if you did add something in there like you're the only guy in the club?
Towards the end.
I joined this Jane Austen book club, man, and this fight club. I'm dominating in this club. Or something. I just thought it'd be hysterical in my mind that it was all women and just you.
I think it's actually better if I'm an adult and just fight kids. I mean, that's just my.
Yeah. That's my take. But that's a great. I love that premise. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how. I'm sorry.
Did you call it Fight Book Club or Book Fight Club?
See, that was part of my joke that I never really added in because I can't decide if Fight Book Club or Book Fight Club is better. Both sound pretty good, so it's like I don't know which one it is. Yeah,
I like Book Fight Club because book club is, I guess it's more common to hear about a book club than a fight club. Therefore, I feel like if you put fight and club closer together, then I don't have to think about it as hard to make sure I know what you're talking about. So then I don't miss any of the rest of the joke. I think it's a great premise. And the fact that you only read Jane Austen books that's great.
Right. Yeah.
it
That's
actually forced me the only time I'd have to read it because I have no
right.
idea.
Right.
I just know.
She talks a lot about marriage and stuff, doesn't she, Jane Austen?
Yeah.
Relationships and stuff. Yeah.
My thought pattern after that, if you have it in front of a crowd and you do that joke, half the women would have watched it, at least known about Jane Austen. The women would, so maybe the guys at least know, but they'll just roll their eyes because that's kind of a thing.
But as soon as you say Fight Club, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When you say Book Fight Club or Fight Book Club, I like Book Fight Club because Fight Club is the movie.
Yeah.
So that's something you can associate with.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. Yeah. I think it started in my head was Fight Book Club, so it's hard to get off of it. But I think I do have to change it to Book Fight Club.
I prefer Book Fight Club. If you can switch it, I think it's better.
Yeah. You can definitely. I just got to.
Because by the way, because then when you say Jane Austen, the women know that, but men know the Fight Club movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that Brad Pitt? Brad Pitt in the movie? Was it Brad Pitt?
Yeah. And I do feel like that's true when you said, like, for sure, if you're talking about Jane Austen, you're gonna be fighting. And I feel like people either love or hate Jane Austen. So I feel like, I mean, that totally rings true to me.
Yeah. It was a thought in my head when I was writing that joke, and it was just really not even written a joke yet. It's trying to figure out how it's going to be done. So I just tried to keep saying it different ways, whatnot. But in my head, I was like, well, Jane really appeals to women. Like a broad range of women. Every woman knows about it, guaranteed. So
even if you don't like her books, you know about them.
Yeah, if you haven't read them, you know of it more than guys. Guys are just like the Fight Club part too. It's like, I'll try and see if I can change it around. That's fun. That'll be fun. So cool. Was there any other input, my friends? No.
I'd love to hear, just as you work on it, add more examples of like what the fights might be about. Like, have you read any Jane Austen books, or did you just no? So, I mean, you could watch one of the movies, and kind of they're all pretty similar. I mean, it's basically just men's and women's roles a long time ago and trying to find love in that part of history and society.
Yeah.
And so a lot of women like it because it's like romantic. But then if you're, if you have a whiff of feminism, you're like, what is this bullshit? So it's easy to fight about Jane Austen for sure. And then the fact that women are supposed to be so, what's the opposite of promiscuous? Whatever's the opposite of promiscuous, but the clothing styles.
Prudish.
Yeah. But then the clothing styles in that time were like all boobs. So it's like, what the hell? Like, I feel like there's a lot that you could fight about with Jane Austen for sure. And like, how many rounds would you go? And like, is it one-on-one, or is it like, you split the room and then it's just a free for all? Like how, I want to hear details about how this.
Right. And we had special nights too. We had to dress up in costume.
Yeah. Which is the Jane Austen thing to do.
The Jane Austen era. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the thought of this joke. Is why I haven't really thrown it out yet, because I know I haven't got it yet. But I like the how I put a seed in people's heads, and they want to discuss it so much.
Yeah. That could easily be a 5-minute bit, easily.
Yeah. So until I figure it out, I got to sit down with that joke a bit more. But it's like,
I definitely wrote that thing out. Yeah. Your assignment, should you accept it, is to watch 7 Jane Austen movies this weekend.
At least one. I mean, I think it would really help to watch at least one, and then you kind of get the other ones once you've seen one of them.
Right. Or just call my wife. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I'm angry right now. I could fight about it right now.
I can tell. I see those glasses steaming up right now. What did you learn in homeschooling about self-defense? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, we had rubber band guns and BB guns and all kinds of stuff from probably way too young, but it's fine. None of us lost any eyes, so.
That's good.
I'm writing that down, actually, what you said there. It's, I like that. I'm angry about it now. I could fight about it now. That's a good just in the middle, just stop and just look at everybody. And like when they're looking at you, I'm angry about now. I could fight anybody right now.
I'll take anybody on now.
Yeah, just taunt the audience. Who wants to go? You like Jane Austen? Or like,
Yeah,
or just
be careful. The audience, be careful in a live audience. You may get an idiot who's drunk and say, "I'll do it. I'll take you out."
what
Well,
I'll do,
people are really opinionated too about like which characters they like and don't like. So you could split a room. You know, I'm not super familiar with it, but you could split a room with if they're super familiar by saying that you really like a certain character or dislike a certain character. People have their reasons. It depends on how much time you want to spend learning about Jane Austen. But I think there's a lot there.
I think it's more funny to me to argue with people on whatever side they said. They anybody like Jane Austen? They cheer, and then you argue against it, or if they don't like it, then argue for it.
I like it. Proper Jane Austen joke by a huge bearded dude. I like it.
Exactly.
That I'm not going to look it up at all. I'm going to just play it as I think I know it and just lie the whole time because I find it anymore not knowing anything about it.
What do you know about Jane Austen? I saw it. I watched Wikipedia.
I don't think I'm going to look anything up. I have a small idea from seeing movies, I think, over the time.
That'll make it actually funnier, not knowing about it.
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah, thank you for that feedback, everybody. It's actually going to be helpful with this joke as a forward. So, that's a lot. So, okay, well, there's a red pause for me. Thank you very much. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I like the enthusiasm with this crowd. That's
tell you.
Part. So let's go. I'm going to start my timer there. Julie, are you ready?
I am. I'm going to do the same joke you heard me do earlier this week, but since Bruce is here, I want to do it again.
Oh, by all means. It doesn't matter. Everybody, put your hands together for Julia Irely.
All right. So I'm not saying I'm almost dead, but I am almost 37. So I feel pretty confident in deleting some items from my bucket list at this point that just aren't going to happen. Like, I'm not going to learn Chinese. They draw their characters, and I can't draw worth a crap. I have to draw my eyebrows on with a stencil. So we should not be relying on my drawing skills to communicate in another language. It's not a good plan. One thing I do have on my bucket list, or always had, was a trip to France. Chinese is way too hard, but a trip to France to eat my weight in croissants, I could leave right now. I don't even need to pack because I'm going to come back 20 pounds heavier anyways. So I'll just cut off the clothes I came in and come home in some unnecessary French maternity pants. So my husband and I, we actually did go to France a couple years ago, back when you could get on an airplane. And we only brought home practical souvenirs. Like, I have no interest in useless knickknacks. I think it's rude to bring home knickknacks for your friends as gifts because you're really just giving them a dusting project and something they have to store. And speaking of useless knickknacks from France, how about that Statue of Liberty? That was a gift from France to the United States, and it's been oxidizing since, 1885? And it looks impossible to dust. They gave it to us in Paris, too. So we had to figure out how to ship that thing back to the United States. What if it got gate checked? Like, at least 3 of those little points on her crown would have snapped off for sure. And we're currently storing it out on the same island where we used to put people who were infected with smallpox. So I don't know, how we're explaining that to the French. I guess we're just telling them, oh, we're just staging it here in the front yard of America while we sort out, the ideal location for it actually, inside the country. I guess we just have to leave it out there, like you leave out a pair of candlesticks when Aunt Mildred comes to visit or whatever that you got for your wedding. You got to have it out when they come over. So for now, it's out in the front yard of America. But you know what else people keep in their front yards? Garden gnomes and used mattresses, which is not a great look. So I don't know. I mean, it's a gift from another country. We can't just quietly take that back to Target. I'm pretty sure a custom statue, that's final sale for sure. There's no way that we can get rid of that thing. Maybe we'll eventually move it to the middle of the country with all of our other ridiculous knickknacks. In the middle of Nebraska, we have cars propped up in the shape of Stonehenge, and we call it Carhenge. And it's the best thing ever. I've been twice. I have family pictures there. It's the most American thing ever. And I highly recommend it as part of your Midwestern sightseeing tour. It's right next to the cows. Great place for a family photo. And you don't have to fly all the way to England. It looks the same as Stonehenge, really. And yeah, you don't want to miss that. I'm convinced the French gave us the Statue of Liberty as like a gag gift, and we just didn't get it because it was like too accurate. Like, oh, this seems like the kind of thing we would decorate with. Like, I kind of see where they're coming from. So now we just have to pretend that we like it. Okay, I'll stop there.
Very good.
Good job.
Thank you. So, Bruce, I don't know how much you know about Statue of Liberty history, but just since you're from that area, I kind of wanted to do that.
I've been to the Statue of Liberty. I've been all the way to the top, so I know it. Yeah, yeah,
All right.
yes. It's interesting. I like the idea how you sort of combine the fact that a little you're buying a useless gift when you go on vacation for your friends because it's a dust magnet. What I would do is the first joke you said with the dust. The dust collector, I think you said. I forget what the exact word was. You said something afterwards. Dust collector should be the punchline then.
Okay.
Because now when you're bringing it back with Statue of Liberty, that's a big dust collector.
I called it a knick-knack, a useless knick-knack is what I called it.
Yeah,
but
there's something with being a dust collector too. Something with dust collecting.
Okay.
Then you said something right afterwards, and I thought that took away from dust collecting.
Well, what did I say? I wonder if I just.
You have it recorded, right? So maybe.
Oh, I do. Yeah. I talk about it oxidizing since 1885.
No, you didn't say that. It was just another phrase.
I'll go back and I'll watch this tape. Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't kill the joke, but I think it takes away from it.
Okay.
It's just the fact of being a dust. I started laughing to myself because we've all done that. We all go buy useless shit for people. It winds up going somewhere repurposed, or it gets donated the next year. But obviously, like you said, when they come over, you want to put it out there, like Aunt Sophie's candlesticks or whoever she was, just to show that you almost appreciate the fact that they bought this for you, but realizing that you hate it and you keep it in the drawer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was thinking about that too, because when I went away a couple times for rugby, you come back and everyone's like, "What'd you bring me?" It's like, my gift to you is by not bringing you a gift.
As I used to say, my present is your present. My presence is your present.
Yeah. How about I spend $5 on a beer on you instead of $5 on some stupid trinket?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you. Or the globe. Yeah.
I had a couple things for you there, Julia, too. So it was it's funny because listening to the set the second time, I got to hear different things and pay attention differently, right? So that was pretty cool. Your Chinese, you wanted to learn Chinese, and they write characters. They also write backwards. I mean, you could use that, right? I mean, yeah, they write backwards from us. It's because they do write that way. The opposite. Not all the Chinese, but some of the languages write that way. I should be more clear that way. But the maternity pants, I've kind of heard a bit of that different ways done, but it's like yours is different from the ones I heard. So I do like it. It's pretty funny. I like that. I think you ran over quick though, if that helps. Like both times, I think I remember hearing you both times. You ran over it, so it's like it's too quick through the thing. So
okay.
Yeah, it needs to be more clear that why. Because I don't think people understand what it is. Like maternity pants would be like, you wear them because you're gaining size.
Mm-hmm.
Vacation's your point, right? Vacation, come back maternity pants. And I don't know if it's clear enough unless you're on the know of what goes on with it. So if that helps.
Yeah, no, it does for sure.
Yeah. So I do like you talk about knickknacks and everything too. I mean, it does make a sense. It does put everybody in line. I think you should, next time you try this one, you should rearrange some of your jokes. I found the middle piece of the Statue of Liberty. I think you should put the Statue of Liberty stuff just all together and then talk about knickknacks after, rather than having like a middle piece of it. You know what I mean? Because you kind of set up like talking about it, then you stopped and started talking about knickknacks. You forgot about the Statue of Liberty, then you brought it up again. Like, oh yeah, it wasn't so much of a callback. It was like a kind of battered joke. You should move them back again. But that's the way I'd feel about it. But I liked it both times. It was good. So
yeah, I kind of use the knickknacks as like a way to get into the Statue of Liberty joke, because to me, referring to the Statue of Liberty as a knickknack, like that's pretty funny to me. But I've had trouble like making sure that people understand that this was a gift from another country. So making sure people get it, but then also trying to get quickly from knickknack to Statue of Liberty. That's always been the challenge.
Yeah.
So you're saying that I should reorder it, maybe?
Yeah, it just didn't seem like it seemed like a gap because you said it like you stopped at something else and went back to it. Now I'm not exactly clear.
Oh yeah, I give a lot of history about like, you know, where we're keeping it and all of that, and then I go back to I call Carhenge a knick-knack.
Yeah, that Carhenge actually I think is a separate. I'd like to hear that as a separate bit. I think just entirely like even like I'd like to hear that kind of up front, like with after the first minute, start talking because it really gets to know about your personality and about you telling that story. Like I like that part. So and I want to see like Carhenge pretty hard bad too now, but.
Right.
But it's something that brings everybody on the side because you're telling about an intimate thing about yourself. It's not that intimate, but you're telling about somebody, and it feels that way.
Personal opinion.
Yeah, so it feels that way. So I kind of enjoyed that part of it, but I think maybe that's why because you went back to the Statue of Liberty after it. You went back to being like telling the jokes that way instead of being more flow like with that part. So yeah, if that helped, I mean, yeah. And it's not a criticism; it's more of a helpful thing.
And
no,
maybe
if we're all working, I wouldn't be here. So I'm looking for the feedback.
And maybe you could do a sort of a callback tie-in when you recommend going to that Carhenge place, and you wind up bringing back an old bumper for somebody as a gift, you know.
Yeah.
Or an old Cadillac insignia. I don't know, whatever. Something stupid. Hood ornament or a bumper, an old bumper from a 58 Chevy or whatever, like a 72 Prius. I don't know.
I would say rear view mirror or something like that. You know, something
a cracked rear view mirror.
It's something you had to really go for. If you got a rear view mirror, it's because you had to go in there and get it.
It's useful too. You know, you can keep it in your bedroom or something. You can.
Yeah.
You know, this is a 1982 Ford Pinto rear view mirror or something. Oh my.
Imagine setting up a whole wall, like maybe not even a big wall, of all rear view mirrors everywhere, just all the way down. All these different ones all the way down. That'd be pretty
right. And actually have the rear view mirror. And you look at your mirror in the morning when you brush your teeth, the rear view mirror is actually behind you.
Yeah.
Literally a rear view mirror.
Yeah.
I think bringing back a souvenir from Carhenge would be hysterical. Oh wow! What's this? It's all wrapped. Oh my God! A bumper from 1978 Ford Pinto. I've always wanted one.
I had not thought of that. That's a great idea. I will try that.
Yeah. See, folks that are watching, this is always helpful. You know, we always get something out of it every single time. So.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. That's one of my favorite jokes, and I want to make it like one of those A-level jokes because I really like the premise.
Yeah. I like the premise too. Actually, it catches your attention. Right away. Like I say that it's something I oversay all the time, but I love jokes that paint pictures in people's heads. Like if you're sitting there just now listening to what they're saying instead of watching it all, and you're just kind of painting it. Like I love stuff like that. That's my favorite. Like active people on stage. It's really funny in its own too. But I always tend to like listen to people. Like there's a guy John Doerr I really like. You can look him up. John Doerr on Conan, and he just paints such a beautiful picture of stuff. And it's like, yeah, it gets me going all the time. Like not going, like it gets me really in, like having.
You're paying attention.
I'm writing a story with him a lot of times, right? Which I like him taking me on a story, right? So yeah, it's pretty fun. So I think you have that with need some fixing. So yeah, cool. Well, over push that one. Bruce, how you doing? Are you ready yet?
Sure. Give me 1 second, please.
Don't want to pressure you.
No pressures at all. That's why we're here.
The ad session of the day, I am drinking Anus Dior, some kind of Portuguese wine there. So I was doing a commercial waiting for you. So
okay. I'm as close. I got Poland Spring. All right.
Okay, let's put our hands together for Bruce Lipsky, everybody.
Thank you very much. I mentioned before about my wife and her spending. She recently bought a $6,000 designer dog. $6,000. She carries this thing around like a Gucci handbag. Only difference is a Gucci handbag costs only $3,000. And honestly, I'd rather have the handbag. At least it doesn't need to be walked 6 times a day. And this is one of those designer dogs. You know, it's a combination of a Cocker Spaniel and a Poodle. They call it a cockapoo. She's named this dog Fabio. And he's completely taken over my bedroom. She dresses him in silk pajamas, a gold collar, and a velvet smoking jacket. And it's really disturbing to me because she calls him Fabio. I call him Houdini. Because with 2 wags of his tail, he's completely made my sex life disappear. And it's really hard to perform when you have 4 legs and an extra pair of eyes staring at you. In fact, now he wants to give me pointers. He whispered to me the other day, he said, "Have you ever tried it on all 4s?" Boy, was that embarrassing. And it's completely taken over the bedroom, as I said. He lays on my side of the bed, on my pillow, snoring and farting. Shit, I've been doing that for the last 30 years. And I got the only dog with restless leg syndrome. You ever see a dog at night with that restless leg is constantly kicking around? I don't know if he's chasing me out of the room or the UPS guy, but I think he hates me. I'm really afraid to kick him out of bed. I may get bitten, growled at, and scratched at by my wife. And she, as I said, it's like an extra child she has now. And she really takes care of this dog. She had the other day a mobile grooming van pull up to the house. It's called the Rough Life, RUFF. I'm the one with the Rough Life. $150 for a blueberry facial, nose and paw moisturizer, and a haircut for the dog. I said, why? He's always rubbing his face in crap all day and smelling other dogs' asses. I'm the one who needs that $150 blueberry facial because she's been rubbing it in my face all these years. I think I need a husband rescue. And she put this dog on the science diet. Me, she put on the science fiction diet. Serves me canned spaghetti and meatballs. The more canned food she serves me, the more time I spend in the can. And the dog just had its physical. His cholesterol's 37 points below mine. He's not walking around pre-diabetes. But the good news is we both tested negative for fleas. I mean, when you have an animal, it's very difficult to plan vacations. We just got back from a big trip. And, I spent $39 a night at the Holiday Inn, hoping it had HBO. She booked a room for this dog at a 5-star pet resort, $250 a night, because it had to have Wi-Fi and cable. I said, wait a second, Wi-Fi and cable? What is he going to surf the net on plentyofpooch.com and try and score on my nickel? If I'm not getting it, I'm not paying for his romps. Maybe for his birthday. And then, then she said, well, he needs cable TV. I said, what does he need cable TV for? She says, well, you know how upset he gets when he can't watch his favorite TV show. Lampposts of the Rich and Famous. And the other day, my wife said, Bruce, I'd like you to take me to the store. I need to get some wool. So I said, why? Is somebody having a baby? She says, no, I'm knitting a sweater for the dog. I said, wait a second. I asked you 2 weeks ago to sew a button on my shirt. You said you had no time, and now you're making custom clothes for the dog? Will I buy off the rack at Kohl's? She said, well, he's a designer dog. Traumatizing me because now we only go to pet-friendly restaurants. The other day we were in a restaurant. She calls over the waiter. She says, my husband and I are going to have a hamburger platter. But she said, please bring over the special menu for the pets. And she's looking and she said, well, Fabio's going to have the $29.95 salmon platter. I said, what does he need that for? She said, well, it's good for his coat. He doesn't need a coat. You need him a sweater. And how crazy pet owners are, one final thing. We just got invited to a bar mitzvah, the Jewish coming of age of a dog. They have the owner reciting something called an Arf Torah. They have this whole reciting thing about him becoming a man. I said to my wife, I can understand. I can take all this. But if this thing is catered by Petco, I'm not touching a thing. Thank you very much.
Hey, everybody. Well, I was writing down, listening to stuff. One thing I liked about the only problem I had with it was that I didn't know what kind of dog he was. So I kept trying to picture dogs as you're going through it. I wanted to know specifically what dog.
I said it was a Cocker Spaniel Poodle, a cockapoo. Maybe you missed that. Maybe I went too fast.
Yeah. I definitely missed it because I couldn't figure out what dog you were talking about. And maybe perhaps if someone does miss it, you'll have them totally lost staring at you the whole time.
Yeah.
me, I was like, what dog is he? It's like sometimes I thought about miniature pincher, and I just kept like trying to figure out what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, that may be my fault. Yeah, but
I caught it, but you could maybe just put it in there a second time.
Right. Sometimes I talk too fast also, so that could be part of it. My New York City, just too fast.
You can slow down a little. It was almost too fast. I mean, I think I caught most of it.
Right.
You can slow down a little.
Yeah. I think I would say what one joke I did pick up on when you're talking about the purse costing less than the dog sort of thing. Mm-hmm. You can almost say something towards like when he dies, I'm going to make him into a purse, just to Hermes sort of thing. Just
Right.
Try to get money back out of him.
Yeah. And I was trying to think of your lamp post of the rich and famous. I get the joke because I know of Robin Leach and shit, but I think younger crowds are going to really know what you're talking about.
What do you consider young?
I would think anybody under 30 probably would have a hard time knowing what that is. So
okay.
I mean, but I'd even say 35. That show stopped in like late 80s, right?
Yeah.
You're in the know.
I used to say Hijynx of the rich and famous. Something just people haven't said a hygiene, dogs pee on a hygiene or a lamppost. I figured, yeah. I got what you're saying.
I got it, but I might be kind of on the edge. The other thing is you could use maybe a more recent reality show, like let's see, like Real Dogs of Queens, New York, or something like with Real Dogs of Queens Lamppost. I don't know, but I got it. I was 36 and I caught it.
Yeah. Canine Bachelorette, Bachelor.
I'll be thinking that's you'll have me thinking all night about this. Well, yeah, Law and Order, BARK, or I can't even think of what it would be.
Right.
So
right.
Actually, stumped. You should change it to, but
I mean,
yeah.
I used to say Dr. Pimple Popper, but that's kind of I wanted something more apropos to the animals. That's why. Yeah. I could just say he likes to watch Animal Planet, but
But you could put a vet. Maybe like to watch a vet. How people like to watch, like
Dr. Pole or something. They may not know who that is either. Yeah.
I think he likes to watch Animal Planet. That's not really a punchline. I mean, I understand.
I know exactly.
Lampposts of the rich and famous, or is that Lampposts of the rich and famous is what you called it, right?
Yeah.
So then at least you've got a chance at a laugh there, right? Instead of, I mean, for sure, Animal Planet, that's a throwaway.
Yeah.
I mean, rich and famous. It's so, to me, it's so clear it's a reality show for dogs. Like I thought it worked, even if people don't know the show. It's like clearly a reality show.
As I said, I flip flop between lampposts and hydrants of the rich and famous. So because we know dogs pee on hydrants and lampposts, and yeah.
Favorite trees of the rich and famous, But I think if you've got that rich and famous line in there, it makes it clear that it's a reality show, even for young people, in my opinion.
Yeah. One of those things you just try it on stage. That's all.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I mean, like, I think that most people would get it. I mean, I think that you'd have some people staring at you a bit, not knowing what it is or thinking about it, but going, "Oh yeah, I remember that show," and just thinking about Robin Leach more than what they're listening to you.
Yeah.
I've been doing this 4 years.
Good point. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's all subjective, this stuff anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what works on Monday night may not work on Tuesday night.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Or ever again. That's the worst part.
Exactly. Nothing personal.
Yeah. Do you have this written down, Bruce? Because there's something that I missed. I think between lamppost and he doesn't need a coat, there was something in there that went by too fast, and I couldn't.
All right. What I did was I said my wife, I wanted me to take her out to get some wool. And so I said, "What? Was somebody having a baby?" And she says, "No, I'm knitting a sweater for the dog." Mm-hmm. So I basically came back and said, "Well, why are you making custom clothes for the dog?" And I said, "Well, he's a designer dog." So then I said, now we only go to pet-friendly restaurants. Mm-hmm. And she ordered from the pet menu, Fabio will have the salmon platter. Mm-hmm. Okay. I said, "What does he need that for?" She said, "Well, it's good for his coat." And I said, "Well, he doesn't need a coat. You're knitting him a sweater." That's where the joke came in. Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
But again, I did
she put you on the science fiction diet, which was what, meatballs and spaghetti or something?
Canned spaghetti and meatballs. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I have a tag on that that's kind of dirty. And I didn't say it, because I usually say, you put me on a canned spaghetti and meatballs. You know those limp noodles with the glow in the dark sauce. 30 years of marriage, I never served my wife a limp noodle. But it's kind of a shitty joke, and I don't want to put it in there. That's why I said the more stuff she serves from the can, I spend more time in the can. It's kind of a fun type of
I
thing.
like that.
Yeah.
I like the limp noodle in a reverse way. It goes, yeah, she feeds me that, and I give her the limp noodle. It's like punishment back to her. But yeah, it's kind of a cheap joke in a lot of ways.
Exactly. Did you like? Sorry. I was going to
No, go
say.
ahead.
Did you like the joke about she called him Fabio, I called him Houdini because in 2 shakes of a tail he's made my sex life disappear. Did that work for you?
It works. Yeah.
Yeah. How about the all fours type of thing when he says he's trying to give me pointers and he whispers, "Have you ever tried it on all fours? Does that offend anybody?" Or
no, what did you say after that?
what I did was I said, okay, he's made my sex life disappear. And it's very difficult to perform when you have 4 legs and an extra pair of eyes watching you.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's giving me pointers, dogs, I can bring back the dog pointer. And he whispered to me, said, "You ever try it on all fours or doggy style?"
I didn't think it was offensive because the point was that he's trying to give you advice. It's a dog.
Exactly.
I thought it was fine. The limp noodle thing for me is kind of like a throwaway joke, and it's not so much offensive as like depending on kind of where we are in history. There's some stuff that's just so overdone, and like a cheap throwaway sex joke is just like, oh.
That's why I didn't do it. That's why I don't do it really. I just brought it in just to say I used to do this thing, but I cut it out. And I just added the can in the can.
I really like that. I mean, I think it's not the limp noodle thing isn't so much offensive as just like
another dick joke. A dick joke. Who needs that? Yeah.
It's generic. It's become generic. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That's why it's not in there. But just brought it back because it's science fiction diet, and it's the can. The only chef in my house is Chef Boyardee. That's for some people don't know who Chef Boyardee is, so I don't say that anymore. So plus that could be a dated thing.
But I like the can. I like the can punchline personally, but they both work.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff in there.
I actually have more that I didn't put in, but this could be. I've done this. I've chopped it up a little, changed a few things recently on it, but I've done this almost for 9 or 10 minutes because I have other stuff in there. I was always worried if I have one topic, people say, "Oh, 10 minutes on a dog," but if it's engaging, it's not a problem. I mean, I think it was Louis C.K. does 20 minutes on one topic. I think, but you don't even realize it's one topic because there's, with him, he's got. If you look at some of his jokes, he's got 11 punches in a minute. I'm just trying to get.
It's interesting. If you've got the laugh lines in there, then I think. I mean, sometimes I think it takes time for people to kind of buy into whatever you're talking about, and unless it's another Tinder joke or a weed joke or whatever, like
No.
premise.
Yeah, I have other stuff. As I said, I don't bring in it. Like for example, I talked about him, sex life disappearing, and now my wife wants to have his puppies. I'll say something, but I fixed them. Just a quick line. I fixed them. Oh, he has his papers. He has his kennel club papers. Papers. The only papers I've noticed are the ones he's been peeing on. I have that in there. I also have. Even with the restaurant joke, we're leaving the restaurant now. My wife is carrying him out as a Gucci handbag. Ironically, I'm carrying out his doggy bag, But again, the setup's a little bit more to that, So again, there's a lot of stuff I have. I talk about also with the breeder, when we got this dog, the breeder asked us 100 questions. What's your financial records? Blah, blah, blah. Have you ever been arrested? I said, this is harder than a job interview in the FBI. And just there's a whole dynamic to this whole thing that I talk about. Even my wife having conversations with the dog, and when I come into the room, there's dead silence. What's that all about? What can't you say to my face? That you're talking about right over here. It's a whole dynamic. But anybody has pets, it's crazy. Or recently, this is a true story. Another true story that my wife enters our dog in these contests. She puts on these costumes. The dog just took second place in its website, $125 gift certificate. You know, so now the dog's earning his money, earning his keep. You know, and it's just that as I said, this is a child my wife never had. You know, actually another child my wife never had. So yeah, I don't want to take up too much time on this, but
No, it's a
the
great
idea is
premise.
that
I love it.
I would
that's
say
you can go on and on.
to bounce on what you're saying there is that you can even talk about her emotionally cheating on you. I mean, that's actually a term that's now emotionally cheating on you with the dog. I mean, that's a good reference because people understand. I don't know. Do you understand that, Julia?
Yeah, or I've heard emotional affair.
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah, by living vicariously through.
Yeah. Well, you can say that too. I'm living vicariously through my dog. He had spent so much time with my wife, and you know,
Exactly. Laying on my side of the bed on my pillow next to my wife snoring and farting. Hey,
yeah,
I've done that for the last 30 years.
yeah,
That's my job, you know.
yeah. It's funny to make it up to how jealous you are of the dog.
Oh yeah.
You paid for a dog, and now you're jealous of the dog because you get no time with your wife, and he has all the time.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
That-
Because when we first got the dog, I swore, because we were cat people. We had cats all our life. We had a cat 23 years. And when our last cat passed away, I said, no more pets, no more pets, because usually what happens is I wind up taking care of the pets. So they said, we want a dog, we want a dog, you want a dog. So we wound up getting this dog from the breeder. Funny, but I swore that the dog would not sleep in my bedroom.
Yeah.
So the first night, the dog's in the crate, and he's crying and crying and crying. Of course, my wife is crying in bed. We're the worst pet parents in the world. We're terrible. So the next thing you know, the crate is up in my room. And the dog's crying in the crate, and my wife's going, oh, you're such bad parents. And the next thing, the door of the crate is open. And the next day, the dog's in our bed. So all the crying is now done by me, you know. And now any begging at the edge of the bed is done by me also. So now this, especially if I go to bed last, the dog is right on my pillow, you know.
Yeah.
He's been replaced.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
I do like. Remember you said that in your little 5 minutes there, but it was like the begging stuff. It emphasized on that. I like that because
oh yeah.
like my wife's always staring at. Yeah,
I'm the one begging at the edge of the bed.
yeah.
But there's only so much you can cram in, and that's why I said this I can expand out to, as I said, almost 9-10 minutes if I really want to, you know.
That paints a picture of my life. My like when you talk about that too, your wife, like you can go further, going, yeah, my wife's like how I talk to my own dogs, going, quit begging at me, quit looking at me, quit, go away from me, sort of thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah. As I said, I think this dog hates me. Yeah, actually has that restless leg syndrome. Is he chasing me or the UPS guy? Because I have a whole Amazon bit that I do talking about part of it says my wife having an affair with the Amazon guy. Not really, but I can, so, talking about how big his package is. She brags about that, and, so on and so forth. So that's sort of a callback if I do a long set. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. Cool. Well, I think, guys, thank you so much for being on the show. I think we're done. Julia, where can we find you?
On Facebook, just look me up, Julia Irely. I'm right there, and I'll add you, Bruce.
Thank you. Yeah, please, and I'll do that, and same thing, and I'll get out that Bayside High School thing to you if I can find it.
Yeah. Is it called Bayside High School? Wasn't that the one from
Bayside, BA, like Bayside, yeah.
Yeah, like
And Bayside High School was famous in another movie, some other movie. It's not California. This is New York City. Yeah.
Well, what's
Yes.
it called? That's from Saved by the Bell was Bayside.
Okay, I know there was some famous TV show that had Bayside. Yeah, this is the other Bayside. This is New York. And
Thank you, Bruce. Where can we find you the next little while?
Facebook too. I'm not. One of my things I have to work on is my social media presence. I'm just not the type of guy who posts that much, But I'm all over Zoom. I do a lot of Zoom shows and mics and stuff. And obviously, I'm here every so often. Scott has me on, and I appreciate the fact that we got together here. We had nice chemistry, I think, today. It was fun, and good stuff.
Well, like I said, more like a pitch room than an actual sometimes comedy room because we don't have the crowd to feed off us. Our timing's off, So it's more like trying some stuff that you just
absolutely.
It's about like sometimes being the full-on comedy. You're trying jokes, of course, but you're it's almost like more of a pitch, and let's see how this works together and goes.
Right, because sometimes in like a traditional open mic, if something doesn't work, you don't know why. So if somebody else can jump in and say, I didn't hear what you said, or I didn't understand the premise, it's really helpful.
Right. There are some feedback mics that are pretty good too. You know, you sometimes get on there, but again, this is nice too because it's intimate. You know, in the sense that you have quality time. Not that the other ones aren't good, but more quality time here because this is a little bit more looser environment. You know, because there's only 3 of us here, 4 of us, whatever. So you can work a little differently. You know.
Yeah. Well, I think you get some good input on a lot of times, right? Because we don't have the structure of time as much as anything else. Although we do have a structure of time, but we don't follow it. So it's like,
as I say, we do the C program, see what happens.
Like I'll keep you guys here all night. I don't care. I get to.
Yeah. No, actually, I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning because guess what? My dog was throwing up in bed.
Oh, wow.
That's true.
On your side.
4:20 this morning. I heard that sound. I said, "Oh no!" Next thing you know, that meant I had to take her out for the walk at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'm, you know, my eyes are.
Okay, well, listen, my name is Keller Reeves. You can find me on social media, Keller J. Reeves. I don't do a lot anymore. I'm slowing down because, frankly, I'm spending way too much time on there and just twiddling my thumbs, looking at stupid people say stupid things. And then I go, hey, I got to say some stupid stuff. And then it's stupid. And right. So, anyways, thank you guys. This has been the workshop number 286, I believe, or 288 above me. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Nice meeting you, Julia, Keller. Good seeing you again, pal.